Peace. Welcome to Holistic Intuition, where we collectively explore health, raised consciousness, and overall holistic experiences such as self-love, cultural privilege, confidence, sex, friendships, oppressive systems, and much, much more, while encouraging you to be your best guide in this human experience through helping each other connect more deeply with ourselves.
Peace, y'all. I haven't been on here talking with you for about 2 weeks, and I'm really excited to be back. And I'm going to be talking about something that is very interesting for me and hopefully for you, and can really just help us better flow through the day. But before we get into that, I just wanted to touch on the importance of resting, the importance of listening to yourself. You know, this past week, I wasn't in the best mental and emotional state, and I actually tried to record this episode last week, and it just wasn't flowing. I couldn't find my words, and I was just emotional, and it just wasn't coming, and that's okay. You know, being in this type of controlled society does not really allow you the space and the time or the privacy to go about your own emotions. You know, I take care of myself very well. Obviously, you know, I eat well, I meditate, I take care of my spirit, I move my body. I do all these things to care for myself. But no one's going to be, I would say happy, but I don't strive for happiness, but you're not always going to be peaceful 24/7. Okay, I'm not just this love and light being all the time. And a lot of people have that, they put that box on you, like, oh, she's like this, or she does X, Y, and Z, so everything is good. And everything for the most part is wonderful. But we're always in a state of healing. Healing never stops. And it's not that I'm always trying to strive to get to more and more and more. I'm very happy where I'm at. But things come up, emotions come up, trauma comes up, different thought patterns come up. And if you don't allow yourself time to reflect, acknowledge, and make space for whatever is needed to heal that part of you, it's going to accumulate. And that's what we see in society. We see accumulations of years and years or decades of suppression. And I wasn't about to just record in a state of a lack of clarity. That's really what it was. I just wasn't in a state of clarity. And I don't feel like that's fair to project that energy onto you guys. Whoever watches this in some way is taking in my energy. And I feel like it's my responsibility to keep myself in a peaceful state when I'm recording. I'm very aware of energy, and I just think, that's my responsibility. So I took the time I needed to reflect, and amongst other things, and I feel balanced, I feel clear, I feel myself. So I'm ready to get back with you guys, and yeah, let's get into it. Today we're going to be discussing how to harness the energy of the day and the ruling planets. Because if you hear me say a lot, I'll say like happy Mercury day, happy Venus day, and some people might be like, what does that mean? And that's what we're going to be discussing today. So we're going to be talking about what each day of the week means and how to channel that energy and the ruling planets. So everything in nature is by design, right? And many things in nature are cyclical, meaning that they're cycles. And we see cycles everywhere. We see it with moon. There's different moon cycles. We see cycles with the seasons. We have our own cycle as women. There's water cycles, there's plant cycles, there's animal cycles, it's endless. And in ancient times, each day of the week was categorized by a ruling planet. And you can connect with that energy of the ruling planet in a multitude of ways. So you can recite specific prayer, you can have certain meditations, just different things really to anchor you to that energy. So before we begin, let's set our intention with this beautiful candle that my grandma gifted me. Because if you've watched my episodes before, you know how important it is, or you know how important I believe it is, to set intentions. So let's just take a moment, set our intention for today's episode number 9. Okay, so for today's, I'm going to be looking at my notes a lot because I actually did a little bit of research too, just to give you guys a little more density with this subject. You know, I have a certain amount of knowledge, but I wanted to go a little bit deeper. So why is this important? Why do we need to know what planet rules every day? Why do we need to understand that energy? Because when you understand the energy of the day, it allows you to more easily move through that energy. You know, you have less resistance and you have more flow throughout your day. And ultimately, it will allow you to connect more with nature and the cosmos. So let's start with Moon Day. Now, a lot of these days, when they were changed from their names, they still have a lot of similarity. So Monday and Moon Day, they just took out an O. So contrary to popular belief, Moon days are not grind day. It is not, let me start my week off strong, let me, execute all these things on my to-do list. That is not who the moon is, okay? The moon is very feminine in her energy as opposed to the sun, which is masculine. And the moon is characterized as being very sensitive. She's very emotional. And she really symbolizes your unconscious thoughts and beliefs and your habits and your mood. So these are not things that are maybe super obvious on the surface. These are kind of your deeper underlying characteristics. Now, every planet rules a certain zodiac sign. Now, there's different schools of thoughts with astrology, with the zodiacs. I'm just going to be going off the 12 zodiacs because that's what I know right now. As I learn more, I would definitely love to share that. There's some schools of thought that go off the 13 zodiacs, and then, we also are not even on the correct calendar. That's something I'll go into later. So just want to keep that in mind as well. So the moon rules Cancer, the sign Cancer. You want to start your week feeling rejuvenated. You don't want to start your week already feeling like, oh, I have so much to do and I have to start getting things done. The only thing that needs to be done is you making sure that you're balanced. That is essentially the goal for a moon day. Mars is characterized by aggression, passion, sex, desire, competition, courage. So this is the best day to execute, not Moon Day. So Moon Day, you set your intentions. Mars Day, now it's time to execute. Maybe wake up, rise early and get a good workout in, start knocking some things off of your to-do list. Maybe this is the day where you want to be out and about, if you have some errands to run. Those are the types of things you want to be keeping in mind for a Mars day. Now let's go on to Wednesday, which is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is characterized by language, communication, reason, the mind. and Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini. So if you need to have a business meeting, if you have a certain, call that you need to make, a meeting, if you need to have, an important conversation, this is the day to do it because it's ruled by communication. So that communication is going to flow much more than, let's say, a moon day, which is very emotional and more sensitive. This is also a great day to harness the energy around brainstorming because, like I said, one of the characteristics of Mercury is the mind. So it's not just that it's communicating with other people, it could be an internal communication. Maybe you're trying to get out some ideas, or maybe you're even in a group setting and you're trying to come up with a solution to something. This is the best day to harness that energy. Okay, now let's move on to Thursday, which is ruled by the planet Jupiter. Jupiter is categorized by abundance, optimism, innerstanding, growth, expansion, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So the energy of Jupiter is overflowing with opportunity. So this is a great time to write out your goals and intentions. Now you might be saying, well, didn't we just do that on Moon Day? Didn't we write out our intentions? Yeah, but things change, right? The week might have been going a certain way, and now we're in the second part, the later part of the week. So maybe you want to write out intentions for your Saturn day and your Sunday. Maybe you want to write out intentions for next week. So even though we start off the week with our intentions on Moon Day, it's important to kind of reevaluate it. Did I get done what I wanted to get done? Maybe you want to add something, maybe something shifted, or maybe, like I gave the example at the beginning of the podcast, like for me last week, I had a plan for the week. I had a plan to record this podcast, and life detoured me somewhere else. So I had to flow with it. The more you fight life, the more you put tension into your emotions, which are just energy, you will feel it. It's not a positive feeling when you don't allow things to flow. So allow that flow to just happen. Be like water. Now, since you're in this energy of abundance, this is a beautiful time to express gratitude. And another reason being that, people tend to be very excited and happy and feeling light on Fridays, which is ruled by Venus, and we'll get into that and why. But the day before a Friday, on Thursday, people tend to be in a pretty good mood. And there's a reason why. Like I said, one of the adjectives I used was optimism. We tend to be pretty excited. The weekend's coming up, maybe you have some more freedom, maybe you're excited for some plans. So really harness that energy by not just asking the universe for things. A lot of people want to throw out the term manifesting a lot. The number one step to manifesting before you ask to receive is to give thanks. We cannot keep asking her for more and more and more without giving thanks and appreciation for what we currently have. So give thanks. Maybe write a gratitude list on a Jupiter day. Maybe tell someone that you appreciate them. Maybe feed yourself with some gratitude. Maybe say some affirmations in the mirror. These are the types of things that I would encourage on a Jupiter day. Okay, now let's go to Friday. Friday is ruled by Venus. Venus is characterized as love, harmony, art, aesthetics, sociability. And so there's a reason why we tend to want to have plans on Venus days. It's not just that, oh, maybe we had a long work week or whatever. I don't have long work weeks, but I still yearn to have that community around me on Venus days because Venus is very sociable. And, we want to maybe get a little dressed up. Venus rules Libras and Tauruses. So some things that I would encourage on a Venus day is to utilize rose, for example. Rose signifies an eternal love. and obviously they're extremely beautiful, they're aesthetically pleasing to the eye, and there's so many different ways that you can utilize rose and really every plant and herb. But specifically on a Venus day, I would say maybe take some rose and make some rose water for your skin. Maybe put it in a bath and take a spiritual bath. You could make some rose tea and maybe infuse it with some other flavors. There's so many different ways you can utilize plants and flowers, really get into all these ways that nature is here for us, to comfort us, to love us, to nourish us. It's not just to eat. You can put certain plants at your doorstep to deter negative energies. You can put things underneath your pillow to help you sleep at night. Nature is everywhere, and she is always here for us. And let's really connect with her, and give thanks for all these ways that she is constantly helping us. So let's go back to Venus Day though. But Venus Day is just a great day to just spend with people that you really love. That love you're gonna just feel it in the air. There's this lightness on Venus days. Everyone seems to be in a better mood. Traffic isn't as bad. Just the little things, So find some people that you really love to spend time with and share that love with them. And if you don't want to spend time with people, put that love into yourself. Like I said, it doesn't always have to be just because Venus is sociable. That doesn't mean you have to have every Venus day spent with other people. Like I said, you can have a really lovely day and take a bath and light some candles and journal and do whatever your heart is desiring. Okay, let's move on to Saturday. Now, like I said at the beginning, these names that were created are almost identical in some ways to the planet. So they basically just took out one letter. Saturday is ruled by Saturn. Now, we tend to think that Saturn days are to, just have fun and go out. So after you just enjoyed your Venus day, maybe by yourself or with some loved ones, this is the day to rise early, to get your responsibilities done. Maybe it's an errand day and you need to go, drive around all your places and get groceries or whatever it may be. This is the day to harness the energy of completing your responsibilities. And many times when we don't do this, it falls to Sunday. And Sunday is not meant to execute. So Sunday, now you're like, I feel like I need to relax because tomorrow maybe you have work or school or whatever obligation. And then you start to feel a little tension. I didn't get my stuff done, but now if I don't get to relax, now I have to go back to work and then I'm going to be tired. And then, then it's like a whole rabbit hole. So make sure that you're harnessing the energy of Saturn by getting whatever needs to be done so that you feel accomplished and you feel grounded and you feel ready to relax and rejuvenate on Sunday. And the last day we're going to be talking about is Sunday, which you can guess is ruled by the sun. This is the perfect day to unwind, rejuvenate, get yourself ready for the week. This is not the time to be doing all these things and running errands and seeing this person and doing that. No, this is the day for you. This is the day to do specifically whatever you feel grounds you and rejuvenates your spirit. So maybe you have a certain hobby. Maybe you like to paint. This would be a great day to maybe go in nature and feel the sun on you on Sunday and express yourself, express your creativity, and connect with your inner being. And we always feel connected when we're doing something, well, not always, but we tend to feel more connected when we're doing things that we love. And maybe throughout the week, you didn't get the chance to paint. This now is the day where you can relax into it. You don't have anywhere to be, you don't have anything to do because you already did it yesterday. this is a day to just unwind. So that concludes the ruling planets of each day of the week and how to really harness and channel that energy so that you have optimal flow throughout your week and you feel as balanced as you can be by understanding the characteristics of the planets and really how that affects us. You know, many people like to choose to believe that these things have no effect on us. We know that the moon has an effect on us, that the ocean's tides have an effect on us, that everything in nature is connected with us. Whether we want to connect with her or not, we have collective consciousness. And that's not just with humans, okay? Plants are extremely smart. And to think that these ways of life have no effect on our day-to-day experiences are foolish to me. So this is just a guide to, and as an introductory guide to help with the flow so that you feel as light as you can. Now, one thing I want to point out, because I was mentioning what planet rules what sign, a lot of times people tend to focus on their one major sign, which is your sun sign. Now, while this can be helpful at first, we have 3 signs actually. And if you're not sure what your other 2 signs are, you can go on, there's a multitude of free websites, and it will basically give you your natal chart, which is a snapshot of the sky when you transitioned from the spiritual realm to the physical realm. So basically the day that you were born. Now, your 3 signs are characteristic of different parts of you. So your sun sign, which is your main sign, so like for example, I was born in early November, so my sun sign is a Scorpio. Now your sun sign is, like I said earlier with the sun, your sun is your personality. It's your ego. It's pretty much how you would describe yourself, as opposed to your rising sign. Your rising sign is more how people perceive you. So the outwards expressions of you that people take in. So sometimes someone might say to you like, oh, you're so XYZ. And you're thinking to yourself, what? That doesn't even sound like me. That's because they see your rising sign, whereas you feel like your sun sign. And lastly, you have your moon sign. So like I stated earlier, the moon resembles your unconscious behaviors, your habits, more the deeper levels of you that most people aren't going to see. You know, that can include your shadow self. And it also is representative of how you process your emotions. You know, most people that we meet are not going to see right away, you know, oh, this person processes like this, or this person thinks about sex like this. No, these are the deeper, like I said, more unconscious parts of you. So once you know your big 3, you can more accurately take in the characteristics of those signs. So instead of just saying, oh, I'm just a Scorpio, so I do everything like a Scorpio. Now, first of all of us have parts of all the zodiacs within us. But our main 3, our big 3, can just help us navigate and understand ourselves more. You know, so if you're like, okay, well, in this way I'm like this, but in this way I'm the complete opposite. I wonder why. This can just help you understand that more. This is not an end-all be-all, okay? I am not the type of person, and I don't recommend putting these types of labels and identities on you like, oh, I'm a Scorpio, so I'm just like this. That doesn't even make sense, okay? When you put labels on you and these massive identities, I recommend getting away from labels, okay? So I use these tools, really. These are tools for me as a guide to help me navigate life. But I'm not going to put an identity on myself. Because at the end of the day, we are not one thing or 5 things or 1,000 things. We have everything within us. And I don't ever want to limit myself by saying that I'm just this way. And I recommend you examine ways in your life that maybe you have put labels on yourself. You know, oh, I'm XYZ, so that's why I do this. Or I was raised this way, so that's why I act like that. That's not really constructive. It's not really helpful. It kind of keeps us stagnant, really. So I just wanted to make that little note, because some people do tend to, you know, really stick to these identities. But I'm going to put somewhere up here a little guide so that you can check and see what sign, or your 3 signs if you know them, what planets they're ruled by. And then you can take a closer look at things that may resonate with you. So for example, I have two of my 3 placements are in Scorpio and Aries. Now, as I said before, Scorpio and Aries are ruled by Mars. So once I understood Mars more and what she embodies, I was like, wow, okay. This makes a lot of sense, why I am the way I am. It really helped me understand myself more, really. So one example is that 2 of my 3 signs are in Scorpio and Aries. Now, both of those signs are ruled by the planet Mars. Now, like I said, Mars is about passion and aggression and very much like this fieriness. And I used to not be in touch and really understand that part of myself and how to harness it with other people. You know, like for me, I might feel this intense amount of passion. Like I can just feel like this fire inside of me. And I would be communicating with someone that I trusted, and it would come out, you know, in a way for them, it might be like, why is she being like this? Is she mad? And it's like, no, I actually am not mad at all. I just feel this fire and it's just coming out. And that was a part of myself that I had to learn how to be comfortable with. You know, I might come across a certain way on this podcast because I have that part of me. I have the parts of me that are very gentle and loving and sensitive, but don't get it twisted. Jessie has a lot of fucking passion. I have a lot of fire inside of me, and I just choose when I want it to come out. But there were times in my life where I'm like, well, I feel like I need to censor myself almost. I feel like I can't really express myself the way I want to because people don't get me. And that was the Mars. That was my Aries and my Scorpio coming out like, this is me, and I'm just gonna come out blazing, and I don't give a fuck. And I just had to learn how to harness it. And also, you have to be around people that want to understand you. Okay, that's a major thing that I just want to touch on. Not everyone cares to understand you. Some people just care to categorize you. Oh, she's just this way. She's just that way. You don't know me. You didn't ask me questions about who I am. You just made an assumption, you know? So I wouldn't ever characterize myself as being like rude or like, you know, like it's not a negative thing to me. It's just that I have an immense amount of fire and passion in my spirit, and learning how to harness it while simultaneously being around people that want to learn me, that want to understand me, has been a huge, it's been a huge shift, a really positive shift. Now, to close off, I just want to touch on that we are not in the most accurate calendar right now. And that's even more of a reason why I don't just stick to these identities that we just talked about. So just to give a little background, and I'm going to put some resources. There's just one TikTok that I really loved the way she described everything that I'm going to link down below. And then I'm going to put another little screenshot either here or somewhere that you can pause and read, that Yaki, who I talk about sometimes, that he wrote about, which was helpful for me. But just as like a little brief synopsis, we are in the Gregorian calendar. Now, the Gregorian calendar was named after Pope Gregory the 13th or something like that. Now, before the Gregorian calendar, we were using the well, I don't want to say we. There were different parts of the world, but a lot of the world was using the Julian calendar based off Julius Caesar. So the Julian calendar was used between 46 BC and 1582. In 1582, the Pope said, we're changing it, we're shifting the whole calendar for religious reasons around Easter, blah, blah, blah. So, and like I said, it's not like every country went off these calendars, or still do. For example, Ethiopia, Nepal, Iran, those countries are still not going off of the calendar that we use in America, the Gregorian calendar. So I'm just going to read you a little snippet of this screenshot that I'm going to post for you guys that Yaki wrote. And this is one reason why I don't ever celebrate, or I don't anymore, the New Year in the dead of winter in December, January time. Because the new year, really, what season represents the new year, the seed, the growth? Spring. So that's when I celebrate my new year, which is when spring starts around late March, early April. So let's get into what Yaki said. Yaki said, April Fool's Day was created in the year 1750, but actually dates back to 1582, like when I said they switched to the Gregorian calendar. So France switched from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar to mock those who celebrated and proclaimed the new year to be January 1st in the middle of dead winter, where nothing grows nor have life. What's new about that? The new year is when life, trees, plants, etc. renews itself in the earth and seeds, which is spring. Notice I said spring. So the new year really starts late March, early spring. I'm going to post the rest of it. I don't want to read the whole thing. But if you really dive deep into that history, you will see that they really were doing it to mock people. And there's a lot of Satanist rituals really behind a lot of the holidays. Every word has a deeper meaning. Holidays, because you're in a daze, partially because you're stuffing yourself with too much food. But all of these holidays are not rooted, majority of them are not rooted in love or growth or light. They are rooted in control and power and things that I don't gravitate to or embody in my own spirit. So I don't celebrate things like Thanksgiving. I give thanks on Indigenous Peoples Day and I honor those that lost their lives, but I'm not going to celebrate a genocide. I'm not going to celebrate a fake New Year in the dead of winter. I'm not doing that, because anything that you put your energy into will have an effect on you. So people might be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. It's just Valentine's Day. It's just this. It's just that. Okay. If that's the way you think, that things don't have an effect on you, then I'm going to make the assumption that you are probably not very in tune with energy. You're probably very not in tune with your own spirit, and you probably are not very in tune with the spirits and all the life around you. And that is, like I said, that is not just humans. So these are just all things to think about. You know, there obviously was a time when I was celebrating New Year's. There was a time when I was celebrating these things because of family obligations or my ignorance at the time. You know, try not to get too stuck on words. We tend to get a little upset when people use the word ignorant. I have been ignorant a lot of my life. Ignorant just means you don't have that information. So I was ignorant to the true ways, the true natural laws of the world. And now that I know better, I'm going to do better. So it doesn't matter to me if certain people in my life still celebrate these things. It doesn't matter that when I go out, I'm going to see all this propaganda and consumerism on certain days. I just choose not to put my energy in those fake things anymore, you know? And where you put your energy is extremely important because part of that will be reciprocated to you. And on top of that, we tend to feel a lot of pressure with things like this. You know, even look at Valentine's Day. Why are you upset that some random fake holiday you don't have a significant other to spend with? Do you see how all these ways they are feeding into your emotions and in a way controlling your emotions? And then they're going to say, oh, well, you have to go out and buy XYZ to fulfill this day. All these things, I just say, forget about it. You do what you want to do. You do what feels comfortable for you. But for me, letting go of all these things that I have not felt connected with, and especially now do not feel connected with, is just another thing that makes me feel lighter. The more you release, the more you feel lighter. So I went on a little bit on a tangent at the end, but these things are just very important to me. So what's really important to me is that even when things don't feel 100% the way I want it to, that I can gently push through that uncomfortability. That's really what I'm saying at my core. You know, am I still happy and fulfilled with what I said and the research I did and all of that? Yes, but not every time I do a podcast or every time you create something or whatever it may be, it's gonna go exactly how you planned. That's okay. It's okay. It's all right for life to shift. And just shift with it. Just move, just flow. So that's all I gotta say for this one. Thank you for being with me for 9 episodes so far. I've been, you know, planning some new guests. That's the word. I've been planning some new guests for you guys. And I have another episode that's in the works that I'm really excited to talk about that I think is really needed. But I just want to say thank you to everyone that's been supporting me, to everyone that, you know, sends me encouraging DMs or comments on here, who likes or subscribes. I appreciate that a lot. You know, it's sometimes not the easiest thing to move through creation, because if you're not completely balanced, it can feel a little rocky sometimes. And I just appreciate everyone for feeding me grace and support and love. And we'll see you next week for episode 10. Peace.